Beloved, welcome back to the shop. Today I have something that I'm very excited to share with you, something that's truly unique. Now, King Solomon said that there's nothing new under the sun, but he wasn't exactly right, because this right here is very innovative. This is called the full swing axe head. This was designed by Garrett Austin and is being produced right now by Hoffman Blacksmithing. This is a uniquely West Coast amalgamation or an adaptation of an axe handle for a very specific job, which is big West Coast logging. You can see right here, good representation here on the website, we can see a real West Coast logger right there. Do you see that the axe sheath he has there? And do you see that short-handled, heavy, 3.5, 4 pound axe? Well, that is a unique design, and funny, here's mine. Very, very similar. This is what I adapted to what worked for me. I needed something that could be carried on the sheath on a faller's belt, but also had a short handle. 32-inch handle is too long to wear in a sheath. You need a big, heavy, strong pounding axe to pound wedges for felling big timber. Fun fact, how interesting that what I developed for myself, how similar it is to the full swing handle. However, what Garrett has come up with is better than mine. It's better because it's got this really skookum knob on the back. Now, this didn't come strictly from Garrett. When Garrett sent the prototype to Hoffman to have this done, Hoffman designed this knob on there for a specific reason. When you're hanging the head, I have spent a lot of time making handmade axes, and when you pound on them to set the head, this can break off and crack. He extended this to have a little bit of extra meat on there so that you could pound it, you could set the axe head, and I don't know what the idea was, but maybe to trim it off and then finish it. That way you didn't have a broken handle. But I think what I have found, just from playing around with it, and I see a lot of professional fallers using these now, is that big old knob on the back is quite pleasing, and I don't see people cutting it off. Years ago, this is a handle that I made with a similar knob on it. I was coming to this conclusion myself, liking to have that. I'd never seen it before, and it feels really good in the hand, but look how similar these designs are. Not to mention my granddad's axe, my Seger Chemical double bit. Look at the similarities in the way that the handle was. This would have been the original design that Garrett came up with, but look how similar. So what Garrett has done is he's combined the two things that I wanted, but I never thought to put them together. So shout out to him for that. I just got this in the mail yesterday, and I'm very excited to hang this today and set it up and make a replacement for my pounding axe right here. I think this is a better handle. It's narrower. It feels nice in the hand, but it's short at 26 inches. It's funny, mine's 27 inches, so we were definitely on the same page. But it's a purpose-built tool that's just going to be perfect for West Coast logging. So let's select the perfect head for this. I have some vintage heads and go about hanging this, and this just might be my new favorite axe. I have 3 candidate axe heads. These, of course, are all vintage that will be suitable for the full swing axe head. Now, I considered for a moment cutting this one off of here and replacing it because I do like that handle better, but this is a handle I made from scratch. I put a lot of work into it, and I hate to tear it up, especially when I have something that might be just as suitable. That leaves these two. Now, this was given to me by my neighbor Henry, who rescued it from the bottom of a river. There used to be a paper plant in the town that I grew up in, and men would split wood for a living to feed the boilers. And they would drop them in the water off the log rafts, and he developed, as a boy, a very clever way of catching them up off the bottom. The wood would get wet, and it would flip up and want to float up, and they were all sitting down there just like this with the handles straight up. And he developed a wire that he would hang down there as a kid and hook them and pull these up. So it has a tremendous history, but this is about a 5.5 pound axe head, which is very, very heavy. This was made for splitting wood. And it's not going to be suitable. That's too much weight to put on your belt. It's exceedingly heavy. Really, the sweet spot for this style of axe is just like this one here, which is most likely a vintage Collins. I can't tell because it's pitted so bad. When I restored it, I was not able to tell, but this comes in exactly at 3.5 pounds. So that leaves this one here, a beautiful vintage Collins 3.5 pounder. Just about perfect. So I think, well, I don't think, I know that you could not find a more suitable head, especially being a West Coast pattern, for the full swing. So let's drive the old handle out and go about hanging and setting this beautiful vintage axe head up. The only proper way to fit an axe handle to an axe head is by hand. You can take a belt sander to it, you can use machines, but it'll never fit properly. It's just a tedious, slow process of trial and error. You have to make this handle the exact same shape as the eye. The more contact you can have from wood to metal, the better it's going to hold, the longer it's going to last, and it's less likely to come loose. This handle has a lot of meat on it, so there's quite a bit of work for it. You could put quite a wide variety of handles on this, so it's just trial and error. So we're getting pretty close though. What I do is I kind of get the eye, or get the tip there to match pretty close, and then just start filing it down. The 4-in-hand is my favorite tool for this. This is a 4-tool, there's 4 tools in one. There's a flat rasp and a finer file, and then you have the concave. The concave is really important for the shoulder here, right here. You want that to have a nice radius to it, because that's where it swells up. That's where the axe really seats on there. So you can use the flat rasp to get the shape, and then when you're working on the shoulder, you flip it over and you can use the round, and that you want to have a nice uniform taper all the way around, so that with a smooth transition, so that that goes on there nicely. I think we're looking pretty close. You can see how consistent that is. It's starting to taper kind of wide. Now this is the kerf right here. This is important because this is when you drive the wedge in, this will split. Now Hoffman has started the kerf here, but this is by no means completed. As a rule of thumb, your kerf, we're going to have our axe head's going to be sitting down hard on that shoulder, somewhere in here. We want that kerf to be about, I like to be about 3/4 of the way down the axe head. So just to estimate right here, we'll be conservative. And before we drive this on here, we'll cut it. So somewhere about right in there. So I'll just eyeball it. So I want that kerf to be probably somewhere down. I'm going to be a little conservative. We can always add it. So probably right in there. So let's put this in the vise, and then we'll cut that kerf down before we drive the head on. To cut the kerf, I'll use a timber saw, whatever saw you have. You just want it to be wide enough. Everything about this handle is absolutely first class. I went on the website and I bought this anonymously because I didn't want them to hand select one for me. I wanted to get what they ship out. And you can see grainy orientation on this one it's perfect. It's the way it's supposed to be. I don't even mind if it's 45. I think 45 is just fine. Horizontal, I don't prefer to see that, but grain orientation on this is absolutely perfect. No varnish. It's obviously completely saturated with boiled linseed oil. And you want to see a nice touch? This is the taper wedge. Walnut. Walnut. How cool is that? That's going to go in here. And as we drive it in, we'll split or spread the hickory, of course U.S. hickory, and make that tight seam, and this came with it. I've never seen a walnut. Usually axe handles, they use some garbage wood and then you pound on it and it splits, but this is very, very premium. And also taco metal wedges. I mean, these are as good as you can get right there. I think it was $32, $36 for the handle. I'd pay double for it after I've seen it, to be honest with you. It's a heck of a value. Good luck finding something of this quality anymore. It's as rare as hen's teeth, but this, so far I don't know how you could make it any better, to be honest with you. We are ready to hang the head. I'm pretty sure. That's a good sign. I can hand press it more than halfway through. Now before we hang it, these edges are sharp on here, and I'd like to preserve this pommel. I think it's really cool. So I'll take and put a little bit of a chamfer on there to make it a little bit less likely if I misstrike with my mallet that I'll break that off of there. The 4-in-hand is a tool that every pro host should have. This is really the only tool that you need for fixing an axe head. If you have a draw knife or just a good sturdy bushcraft knife, you can bring down a good majority of the material and you can finish up with this. Just don't rush it. When you go to hang a vintage head like this, it can last generations if you take care of it and if you do it properly the first time. Rushing it is not going to make it better. So you can see here, we're about halfway in, I think. We're ready to seat. If you look along there, you won't see any daylight or very little. It's starting to catch a little bit right there. I may have to pull it off one more time, but I think I'm pretty close. I might get it the first time. So to seat it, you want a heavy hammer or a mallet. I'm going to use this as a steel pounding mallet. It used to belong to my grandfather. And it's perfect. It's very, very heavy, and it's perfect for seating, for setting axe heads. I know it sounds weird, but you drive it from the bottom. You would think that you would put it on something hard and pound it down. You never want to pound on a vintage axe head. They're a national treasure, according, as far as I'm concerned. They don't make them like this anymore. So you drive it with something heavy like this, strike it. Okay, let's take a close-up look at our work. Now our handle's starting to come out. I'd like to see this axe head sitting down there about another 5/8 or so. Now you can see where the wood is curling up there? That's where it's really coming up tight. It's making contact there, the curls, contact on the side. So there's so much wood coming off here. I'm a little bit fat right there. So I'm going to drive this off. And I'm going to use these rub marks to bring this down and bring this taper down about another, probably 3/8 or so. That's looking pretty good. Really the key is to have that nice even transition, not too harsh, because if you get it too harsh and that axe head just bumps up and down, it won't really wedge down in there. So don't forget to back some of this bulk out. Oh, it's gotten cold. Got cold last night. It was in the 20s. Hit that thumbs up, gentlemen, if you enjoy these videos. And if you'd like to join our morning live streams every morning at 5 o'clock Western time for members, we're going through the patriarchs. Join the war band, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. It's a members only live stream. Looks good. You can see the wood is being kind of rolled up. It's making contact almost the full width, or the full radius, I guess, of the handle. Got plenty on the top there. We'll actually trim that. But it feels good, looks good. I think we'll go with that. We'll drive it a couple more times to make sure it's seated, and then we'll wedge the top. Yeah, that's about as far as it's going to go. All right, let's prep our wedge. The walnut wedge is a little bit longer than we need, so we'll trim off just a little bit of that. The final step will be to put the wedges in. As much as I like these taco wedges, I do prefer these round wedges, these conicals. The conicals, rather than wedging from two sides, do a 360-degree wedge. They come in different sizes. Here's a small, medium, large. Well, it looks like I have maybe 3 sizes. That might be the tightest wedge I've ever done on an axe. It's as far as I dare go. We'll file this smooth down here by hand. I'm taking that hard edge off of that pommel. It's a little uncomfortable in the hand, and it'll just catch on something and crack out that handle. Lansky puck. Every pro hoe should have one. Coarse and fine. Handy, fits in the pocket. It's the only sharpening stone you need. The thing pretty much speaks for itself, does it not? Well done, Garrett. Well done, Mr. Hoffman. This is how it starts. This is how we take back American manufacturing. To hell with these big corporations. Nobody can make stuff like this except for small businesses that put their tender loving care into it, that put their heart and their passion into it. That's how you get true excellence. And I am very thrilled that there are guys out there like those two that are keeping these traditions alive, because they're important. They're important. This is my new favorite axe. It is heavy, it is short, it's portable, it's handy. I just couldn't love the handle anymore. It is absolutely a home run. I adore it. Truck, I mean, not just limited to what it was purpose built for, but just a handy thing. 26 inches is just ideal. You got the weight where you can really cut stuff. You can get two hands on it. Love the palm swell. Love the dimensions. It fits my hand perfectly. I love the quality. I just don't have enough good to say about it. I'll put a link to, what's the name? This is the first thing I've ordered from this company. West Coast, was it West Coast Logging? West Coast Saw? I can't remember. Don't have my glasses. Well, I'll put a link down there. This is the first thing that I ordered, but it looks like a small business, dealing with high quality items, and I'll certainly be supporting them. I am very, very pleased with this. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you all on the next video.